Hey, this is Logan Shinholster with Contractor Growth Network, and today I'm going to be walking you the top 3 ways, and I want to talk about the number 1 problem that I'm seeing a lot of. Today I'm here with Tommy Mello. Alex and I are talking about the top 3 things that we have done to grow our business very fast. I'm going to walk you through the number 1 reason why most online lead generation companies are total crap and what you should do instead. What a lot of contracting companies do and contracting company owners do is they don't want to put a lot of time and effort building the brand, generating leads. They just want to spend some money online, have a bunch of leads come into them, and then they can kind of pick and choose which options they want. Now, here's the problem with that. There is not enough demand out there for just a regular run-of-the-mill contracting company to pay a little bit of money, get all these people to flock to them, and then they get to choose like the best 15 jobs to go with that make the most amount of money. They're the easiest, they're the easiest customers. Right now, yes, there is a higher level of people that are actively seeking out home improvement projects to their homes. However, it's not like you're having every single person in the world cashing out their 401k to come in and get to remodel their kitchen. It's just not happening like that. So what a lot of contracting companies still do though is they like to spend money through lead generation sites and say, hey, I want, I'm gonna pay you $100 a lead, $150 a lead, whatever it is, to send a bunch of leads my way, because then that way if you send 50 my way, I can kind of pick and choose who I want. Now the problem with that is when you're on these lead generation sites, they're great to use because they're so easy. All you have to do is set it up, talk about a little bit about what you do, show a couple pictures of your work, and you're done. But the downside is it's so easy to use that everybody can use them. And when everybody can use them, there's nothing that differentiates one contractor from another. There's really not that much difference between one profile and another. You have to be better at selling, and you have to have a pretty much immediate response time to getting on the phone with homeowners. So if you can do both those things, you have a better chance of selling them. Now you're still dealing with the issue of everybody looks the same. So now if that homeowner gets a couple other contractors who are calling them pretty immediately as well, then now the next step is going to be either A, who's better at selling, and B, who has a lower price point. Okay? That is why these third-party lead gen sites end up being a price war, and a lot of contractors get very frustrated with them because they're now being put in the same boat, on the same playing field as everybody else that is also paying money for these leads, when you could be in business for 25 years, have thousands of happy customers, and know exactly what you're doing because you've done this your whole life, and you're being put up next to somebody who's brand new. They've been in business for a few weeks, they have a couple happy customers, and they're just kind of winging it and flying by the seat of their pants. And your overhead's significantly higher than the other person's overhead because you have an office staff where if something goes wrong at the house, the homeowner can call up and you have an office admin that will answer the phone and make sure everything's good to go. You have insurance, you're licensed, you have everything good to go. This new person may not, so their overhead's lower, and because their overhead's lower, they can do the job at a lower price point, and they are going to win 9 times out of 10. It's that simple. So that is the problem. That is why most contracting companies get very frustrated with these services, because you're getting people in the door that it's not their fault. They're not naturally cheap. I mean, maybe some of them are, but a lot of them just, if you're presented 2 options, it's like when you rent a car, when you get, like at an airport, when you rent a car, you're like, well, they're both a Ford Focus. I'm going to go with one that's $40 a day versus one that's $75 a day. And the $75 one's going to say, well, we've been in business longer than they have, and this and that, and we're nicer at the customer service place. Well, some people are going to choose that, but most are going to choose the $40 option because there's really nothing different about the two. Okay? Because it's all the same playing field on those third-party platforms. Now, how do you do it the opposite? How do you generate your own leads, and how do you get them where when people come in, they don't necessarily feel they need to call 30 other people to get bids? Let me show you exactly how it's done. First off, The website is everything. A lot of people who are watching this right now are going to say, well, I already have a website. I don't need that. That's not my issue. Okay? That's just not the case. That's kind of like saying where if somebody wants to remodel their kitchen, you would be like, well, you already have a kitchen. You don't need to remodel it. It looks good. Like, that's not it at all. Like, there's a functionality with it. If you have a work truck that doesn't, barely functions, you can't go, well, I already have a work truck. I don't need to get a new one. Well, if this one's broken and it's not working, it's not getting you to the job site, why would you not want to get a new one? That's the same thing with your website. If your website is not pulling out the emotion and convincing browsers, people who are on your site, potentially looking to hire someone like you, if they're not actively converting those people from browsing into potentially buying by submitting a lead, then your website is broken. Okay? You can't just say, well, I've already got one of those. They're all the same. I'm good. That's just not the case. Okay? Your website needs to act as a sales tool. That is step one. Okay? It's unbelievable how many people treat their website, contracting companies treat their website like it's just something they never look at. And because they never look at it, they never see it, they just assume it's just one of those things that you kind of have to have, but don't put too much effort into it because it's not going to do anything. Well, when you don't put too much effort or time or money into it, it's not going to produce anything. When your website sells, it should actively differentiate you from all the other competitors around the area. It should speak directly to the emotion of your customer, what they're feeling. And when it does that, the customer is now more motivated to not only hire somebody to do the work that they're potentially looking at doing, but they're also looking at hiring you over everybody else because you're the one speaking to the level of pain they're dealing with and you're differentiating yourself from everybody else, which now shows you're the only company for them. Step two, increase content and brand awareness. So what I mean by that is when you go to rent a car, you know the big brands, you know Enterprise, you know Hertz, you know Dollar, you know all of them because they do a ton of advertising and marketing. But most contracting industries or companies do not. And when that's the case, their homeowners are effectively picking blindly out of a hat of who they're going to go with. And if they don't know any of the companies, why would they not just go with the cheapest one? So when you use content, video, blog, you help people out, you stay top of mind, you stay in front of them, they are more likely to go with you because they have built trust and rapport with your Facebook ads, with the Google searches, with everything that they're doing. When you continuously show up over and over and over, they are building trust. Step three, build an online pipeline. What I mean by this is the same way that you build relationships in person, you need to be doing that online, okay? Most contractors and small businesses, they only want to spend any money or any time or anything on people that are ready to buy today, which kind of makes sense, right? Why would you want to spend a bunch of money on somebody that isn't ready for 2 years? Well, the fact is that it takes a relationship for a homeowner to hire a contractor. And if that relationship is not established offline, it needs to be established online. And if that relationship is a very quick one, where it's somebody does a search for kitchen remodeling company near me, and you show up, that's a very short amount of time for them to build trust with you. Imagine if they've seen your videos, read your blogs, looked at your website for 6 months to a year, and then called you up, how much more likely are they to move forward? Most contractors as a whole, I mean, they got a job right now and they're like, well, I'm working right now. I don't need a market. I can stop doing everything because I'm already busy right now. You're planning for the future. Is this something that just naturally came to you, or did you hire a coach and they kind of said, Tommy, look, man, we got to look to the future and then reverse engineer that and figure out what we got to do today? I mean, where's all this come from?
I always say BYB, better your best. I don't think anybody told me to do $1 billion. I've always said I want to be the biggest garage door company. But the longer and longer I've seen, I've hired a lot of consultants, all great. The people that I ended up working with for a while, they still look at me like that's a fictitious number, like I just pulled that number out of nowhere. But I read a lot of books. I've listened to a lot of podcasts. I listen to a ton of books. I buy new books every day. I've got books everywhere in my office. I pick up at least 5 new books a week. I don't read every single one of them that week. I've got a lot of them in the hopper, but I think that setting a huge goal, but more importantly is living and breathing that every day. Every single person knows that at the company. They know that's where we're going. They understand that they can move up the ladder. It's good for everybody. So I'd say I wouldn't have said $1 billion 10 years ago, but I would have said definitely in the tens, if not hundreds of millions.
So to get to this $1 billion mark, you got to obviously grow big time. And one of the lessons that I've read was that threes and tens, meaning when you get to $3 million, whatever got you there, that whole system is going to be broken by the time you get to 10 million, and then 10 to 30, 30 to 100. So for some reason, and same with employees, to get to 3 employees, what you got to do to get there is different than 10 employees, which is different than 30. Did you kind of find that along the way as you've scaled this quickly, that what worked to get you to a certain point just no longer works and you got to totally pivot? Or kind of walk me through your path with that in mind.
You know, what I've learned is no more than 5 direct reports, and I learned you got to build leaders. We've changed dramatically, and what I think the main important thing is I don't have people doing more than one task. I think the problem is we used to have this person that used to be good at 3 or 4 or wear 4 or 5 different hats, and now I'm like, maybe they're not going to stay busy the full amount of time, but they're going to grow into that role, and they got to be very, very lean. They've got to get really good at it. So I think what we have could take us well into a couple $100 million. I think what I've started doing is bringing on stronger and stronger players. You know, my COO started at $45,000 a year. Now he's going to make $250,000 plus. But I can afford now to pay people more money to get the higher level people to see the trends and analyze and dig in and find out why this market's not as profitable and find out where we could grab a few percent here and there. You add 3%. I mean, look, if you're at 16%, let's just say 17%, you get to 20%. 3% of $50 million is what is that?
1.5.
Is it 1.5 million?
I think so, yeah. I think it is.
Yeah, 1.5
million. Will be 30. Yeah.
It's 1.5 million. It adds 1.5 million to the bottom line. So you get someone in that can find 3%, and trust me, when you get into a company doing big numbers, it's not hard to find a percent here and a percent there, you know? And I don't look at marketing. I used to be in the lead generation and all about marketing. Now I'd say COVID has taught me one thing: focus on the people. I know that one all-star CSR will make $1 million more for the company. I know that one great tech could go from 300,000 to 1.5 million of revenue and be a lot more profitable. I've learned what a good manager could do, an A player versus a B or C player. So the marketing comes easy because the marketing is a derivative of the revenue. Think about it. If you spend 10% on marketing, that means I get to spend $5 million. But when you get a better conversion rate, happier customers, leaving more reviews, giving more referrals, I mean, it's easier. And it becomes easier to recruit with A players because they're always out there looking. So I used to get mad and not understand. I'm like, how are you going to get all the leads if you're hiring that many people? But the leads come. They get great reviews. They ask for referrals. They door knock on the street. Say, we just took care of your neighbor. Can we check your garage out? They're just go-getters. And that's the difference is instead of becoming a lead machine like I was, now I'm a people machine that create leads. And we still do a lot of leads, but the people help create the leads. It's a beautiful thing.
I want to show you 3 ways to attract higher end clients for your contracting business. And all 3 of them are things that you can start doing today. So the first thing, professionally shot photos are going to help you out so much it is not even funny, yet most contractors don't take the time to do that. They say that they've been in business for 30 years and they do all these really high-end projects, but if you look online, they either have no photos or they have photos from 15 years ago, from styles that are way outdated. What homeowner wants last decade's styles? No one. Let's just say you're not good at customer service, and let's say your experience sucks, but you're good at the craft. At least show pictures that are good and they're quality pictures of you. People will spend more money for that because you put in a little bit of effort. Most of the pictures that we see from contractors it's a finished product, but you still have tools all over the place. There's still painter's tape on the walls. That doesn't show a finished product. They think it is, but it's not the final product that the homeowner wants. So put your best foot forward. Higher end photos are going to attract higher end clientele. The next thing, number 2, get online reviews. If you're watching this, you most likely work off referrals and past customers. And that's fine, but referrals are now online reviews. All right, one of our clients, Tribble, since we started working together, they probably had, when we first started, maybe a year and some change ago, like 100, oh no, I'm sorry, like there's like a couple dozen reviews, and now they're at 177 a little over a year ago, because it is in their culture to get reviews from clients. And when you do this, guess who is looking at these reviews? People who want to hire you. So when they look at your company versus a couple others, and you've got 177 5-star reviews, and the next person has, let's just say they have a lot, but they have 21 5-star reviews versus 177. The numbers don't lie. People like to side with other people. They like to go with the masses. So if you are lacking reviews and you're one of these companies that you've been around for decades, yet you only have a few reviews, all of the experience that you have, and when you say, well, I've been around all this time, you have this entitled feeling that just because you've been around, people are gonna hire you, and that's not the case. You need proof. The proof is in the pudding. Just like with the photos, reviews are there as well. If you say, well, people love me because I offer a good experience, and you have a 3-star average customer review, what are people gonna think? And the last thing, number 3, you gotta be everywhere. All right, it's not enough just to have a website or just to have a yard sign. You need to be everywhere people see, because the more that they see you, the more that they trust you. And the more that they trust you, the more willing they are to spend money with you or hire or more money. Whatever your end goal is, whether it's larger projects or it's the same size project but 30% more money, that's what, if you're going for that, that's what you need, is this omnipresence. Omni meaning everything, like everywhere. So you need to be on Facebook, on Google. You don't need to do TikTok or anything like that, because your ideal client is probably not a 9-year-old girl, but you need to be everywhere. You need to be posting on Facebook, showing the crew, showing your projects, because you will build a community that way. And when you build a community that way, guess what? People trust you. And guess what happens when people trust you? They spend more money. If you want to build more trust with clients, the first step is get your foundation set up. Head to contractorgrowthnetwork.com, learn more about what we do, because that's exactly what we want to do. Not give you a ton more leads, but work so that all the leads that come into you are ready to buy, because they know why you're special. They know what you're all about, and best part, they know ballpark pricing for what you charge, so they're not trying to buy a Nordstrom project with a Walmart budget. ContractorGrowthNetwork.com. Thanks.